Hopefully this works. I cut out. I need my. Ugh. It doesn't work. It's shiny. I'm just going to do this. This helps me see the computer. And it just stopped recording, and so I think maybe it was. What did I do? Ran out of room on my iPad, so I went and deleted some other stuff. So hopefully this works. Maybe that worked. Okay, so basically a functional approach, and I talked about how most research indicates that the primary way or reason people use social networking sites is to maintain some sort of already established face-to-face relationship. But then they move to lots of different things. They say that they're going to organize the chapters, their chapter, this way. What? The way they organize it sort of appreciates that we actually do use things in multiple ways. I mean, for instance, we don't just use Facebook for this certain thing. We don't just use text for this certain thing. We don't just use Twitter for this certain things. Every little social networking site has multiple functions, right? So very many functions. And the multifunction is what they call the meta principle. So just like we can use our body in lots of different ways, same thing with social networking sites. I mean, that's no brainer to me, but I guess some people might think that, okay, Facebook is for this, Snapchat is for this, Vine is for nothing anymore, so forth and so on. And so, what does the research say? What does the survey say? Like Steve Harvey, that's what it says, who does the new Family Feud, which I don't watch, but I used to watch the old Richard Dawson stuff. Man, that guy. Did you know he was like drunk most of the time? I loved him on Hogan's Heroes. I used to love Hogan's Heroes. Okay, here's what it says. So given that sort of caveat that a lot of people use it to maintain some already established face-to-face relationship, here is what the first chapter says are the multiple general functions of social networking sites like Facebook, other things, Snapchat. First, relationship initiation. So it does not necessarily have to be some sort of already established relationship. Some folks try to find new relationships, whether it be new friends or new romantic partners. Say it puts the in networking, I guess. I don't get that. I don't get my... You know, it's sad. I don't get my own jokes. I can't remember what I meant by that when I put the PowerPoint together. In new? I don't know. They talk about how oftentimes this happens in part because of the anonymous nature of some of the social networking sites. So you don't have to be you. You can be anonymous and seek out people of similar interests and stuff like that. So sometimes through blogging and folks can, you don't have to be, you can hide a lot of your who you are in a sense, but who you are is complicated, but you know, when we're face to face, there you are. When you're online, not so much. You can have private codes and private pen names and have private sort of funky relationships with folks. So, and there are certain sites, obviously niche sites, whatever you want to call them, for shared interests. So you can find folks who are lonely and like the silly things you do. But there's all sorts of things. I mean, I actually belong to some societies. There's like these online beard societies where folks give, ideas on how to maintain and trim and everything like that. Oh, there's a lot of stuff on Pinterest about that as well. And I actually did initiate new friendships. I joined a club. I didn't maintain it, but it was sort of funny. Oh. Okay. Now, this is sort of funny. This is sort of interesting. Most of the research says that folks initiate more cross-sexed relationship, that's male to female, and this is the way social scientists talk, more online than offline. That's what they say. Is that right? So folks initiate actually more cross-sexed, male-female, even though problematize either or binaries, more online than offline. Is that right? That sounds funky to me. But I guess that's true. If it's in the book, it's got to be true. What does it say? Relationship initiation, blah, 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 blah. People repeatedly deny using S and S's for overt romantic invitations and random dating searches, although this does not mean they are not used for dating or romantic. Yeah, I know that. No, I don't know that, but... Where does it say that? Friend, I know, I'm wasting your time here, but it's all about looking for love in all the wrong places. Actually, these are good places, I suppose. I know a lot of people have found romantic partners. One of the things that they talk about here, and I can't find that, maybe that's a top. You've got a challenge here. Try to find that stuff about issues of gender, because I can't find it in here. Maybe I did some research about it someplace else. I don't remember. So one thing that's really, really interesting is that folks, when they sort of initiate romantic relationships, because this is not just about romantic relationships, but when they do initiate romantic relationships, one of the things that they talk about is how CNCs might therefore serve as a valuable uncertainty reduction tool for users attempting to determine their compatibility with someone they have already met, so they can use it for, somebody they already met and go online. I met this person, blah, 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 at a party, I don't know, whatever. And then I go online, I friend them on Facebook, and then I see what they like, what music they like, and maybe, I don't know. So that's another aspect of all this type of stuff. Okay, so, but the first big idea here is that folks use CNN, this is CNN. Folks use SNS's, social networking sites, in part to initiate relationships. So, and I'll let you read some of the specifics. Function 2. Function 2. I love solid gold. Function 2. They say most primary. Relational maintenance. They say markers of any good interpersonal relationship are trust, liking, commitment, and maintaining all that through communication, and a lot of folks do that through CMC. Some people have argued that CMC is much more task-oriented, because a lot of people argue you cannot convey emotion via CMC, but that's not always the case. That's why we have emojis. Emotion. So there's some relational communication, emoticons, smileys, all these different types of things where people try to convey the emotion that they mean, or the whatever. So there is a lot of relational sort of maintenance that goes on. It's not just, honey, do you need anything at the store, blah, 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 blah. It can be very relational. It can be very, very more relational and romantic. Siri, I love you.
Oh, I bet you say that to all your Apple products.
Okay. And then, folks use Facebook a lot to maintain relationships. It's amazing how I have two Facebook accounts. I have my regular one, sort of private one, and I keep in touch with childhood friends and folks I went to high school with, and I get invited to my upcoming 30th high school reunion that I will not go to. But it's amazing how I can without CMC, there's no way in the world I would have kept in touch with so many different people. And then, I try my best to wish everybody a happy birthday, but the only reason I ever know it's anybody's birthday is because Facebook tells me. And then also they say that asynchronous communication is important here. So that is not in time, sort of out of time, so we don't have to be there face to face in a certain time and space to communicate. And there's a key point, I think, about this particular function on the bottom of page 7. And this is what they say. La la la. I said key. Our current understanding of relational maintenance on social networking sites rests on knowledge accumulated through the secondary findings of numerous studies. Existing research clearly demonstrates that social networking sites are functioning to maintain relationships. However, few studies to date have focused entirely on the relational maintenance uses of social networking sites. Thus, we agree with Walther and Ramirez's argument that the greatest utility of social networking systems has yet to be explored. These systems provide a dramatically new way to enact relational maintenance. Relational communication scholars should devote extensive attention to unpacking the relational maintenance function of social networking sites, etc., etc., etc. And it's amazing how people have used this to sort of do, and relational maintenance is sort of an interpersonal term, and it means maintaining a relationship, pretty much. But from a task perspective, or sending signs or messages of love or likeness, or I value you, all those types of things. So people are using social media, social networking sites, social media, whatever the hell you want to call it, to maintain relationships or relational maintenance. Number 3. Relational reconnection. I sort of jumped the gun on that. So basically it just means that we knew people way back in the day, and social networking sites allow us to reconnect with those people. So that was probably the better. My example of the high school folks probably should have been here. And also, Facebook actually will, ask you to join certain things once you fill out the information. If you fill out all the information, like where I grew up, where I graduated, blah 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 blah, they'll pop up suggestions of people from this town or people who graduated from this college or whatever, and so you can go see. I didn't know that person went to jail. So I'll let you read this, but it's pretty interesting, but basic information. So we can reconnect with people. Reconnect, relational reconnection. The 4th, identity. I like this part. Identity experimentation. First, it's important that you understand that identity is not set. It is a performance. We also have multiple selves. Right now, I'm teaching, but hopefully very soon I will be eating. I'll be my eating self instead of my teaching self. I think Taco Bell. I wish we had Taco Buenos here. Taco Buenos are much, much better than Taco Bell. There is no one true self. Things are more complicated than that. I'll talk a little bit about that later on. I'll talk about Stuart Hall and stuff like that. But online, the corporeal body, which is our physical body, is detached. We don't have a body on Facebook per se. We put visuals, images, but the body is not there. So we can play with our body. So a lot of people end up being somebody they aren't, or whatnot, or shaping a friend, or being somebody they are afraid to be in face-to-face interactions. My dog still has a Facebook page. He died this summer, but now he sends messages from doggy heaven. So we have this big idea of what oftentimes they call disembodiment. My body is not there, which gives me a lot of opportunity to play or experiment with who I am. And also we have this luxury of potentially being anonymous, anonymity. I'm disembodied, my body's not there, and nobody knows me or who I am. I can hide, so who knows? I can experiment with my identity. And some of this, a lot of research is the problematic stuff where, we got stalkers and all those folks who